Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
That's what I'm talking about. Although we should use another Sam Spence piece just to break it up a bit for us. All of today's guests are brought to you by, and that includes Ross Tucker standing by, the Bayside Oceanfront Resort, located oceanside in beautiful Parksville. The Bayside Resort is one of Vancouver Island's premier getaway spots. Stay at the Bayside this month and get 25%. Is that right? Oh, 25% off your nightly room rate by mentioning Donnie and Dolly. Book your island getaway at BaysideOceanfrontResort.com or call 250-248-8333 as we bring in from the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, Westwood One and CBS Sports. Ross Tucker, how are you, sir? Thanks for doing this.
I'm doing awesome, but I'd be doing a lot better if we could book this trip you guys have been talking about for years, where I stay at the Bayside Resort. Every day I go to the Waddling Dog and just crush beers in the morning.
Kokanee, Ross.
I forget where I get my car at, but we get my car on the way to go to the beach and get my boat and then stay at the Bayside. I'm ready. Vancouver, I'm ready. Like Donnie, I know you guys have a big budget. Fly me and my family out there. Long weekend at the Bayside. I'll even buy one of your T-shirts and toques to help contribute to the cause.
I'm just impressed. First of all, it's Passant Motors, but I'm impressed that you've worked toques into your vocabulary. Like a couple of months ago, that wasn't going to happen.
You didn't know how to spell toque.
Honorary Canadian.
I know the Canadian lingo, eh? I mean, I know it.
Yeah. All right. Hey, what's it like watching a game on the sidelines in snowy Buffalo? I saw you tweet about that.
A couple of different things about it. First of all, it'd be a lot better if I had brought gloves that are water resistant. I brought gloves that let me be on my phone. You know, like it's the gloves that you can still scroll on your phone. Little side note for everybody out there, little pro tip. If your gloves are soaked, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Then you can't use your cell phone with them. So my gloves were soaked. Also, I don't think the jacket I wore, that fancy jacket my wife got me, that she thinks it looks cool, so everybody wears.
Yeah.
I don't think it's actually water repellent either. So I was kind of 0 for 2 from a clothing standpoint, but I'm tough. I'm from Pennsylvania. It was amazing. I don't really know, by the way, how those guys throw and catch the ball so well in those conditions. I was surprised more guys didn't slip. There was a decent amount of snow on the ground. It was slick. And then also, like, the flurries were coming down the whole game.
Wow. I
mean, I fought through it on the sideline. You know, at times I was a little bit disturbed, but I was able to fight through it to watch the action. I don't know how those guys throw and catch so well with all those flurries. Like, you think right when they're about to catch it, like a flurry hits him in the eye or something.
Yeah. I'm glad you played in the NFL. I'm glad you feel that way because I watch and I marvel at it. But, you know, I'm just average Joe guy. Here's somebody who played in the NFL. He can't pick out the proper gloves, but still that's impressive. And you're impressed by what they do. Hey, was that result, 27-10, Bills losing to the Bengals, was it more about the Bills or was it more about the Bengals?
I honestly think it's more about the Bills. I mean, I give the Bengals a lot of credit, but they didn't look all that great the week before against the Ravens. They had an outstanding game plan. Obviously, they executed it very well. But, guys, what are we doing up in Buffalo? I mean, this is supposed to be the year. It's a home playoff game in the snow, and they got worked. I mean, they got rolled. There's no other way around it. I was stunned by the ease with which the Bengals dominated that game. I don't think anybody was expecting that. The fans were as well. I thought the Bengals had a chance to win the game. I took the Bengals on the Even Money Betting podcast, getting 5 points. I certainly wasn't expecting them to dominate, to run the ball that well, to win by 17. That was really impressive by the Bengals, but this is a soul-searching offseason now for the Bills. They're like planes, trains, and automobiles. They're going the wrong way. They lose the AFC Championship game. They lose a heartbreaker in the divisional round. Now they kind of get blown out by 3 scores in the divisional round. The Bills have too much talent to be going the wrong way, guys.
Ross, lots of heat on Dak Prescott in Dallas. If you read the newspapers, he did not outplay Brock Purdy on the weekend. He led the league in picks. How are they going to turn this guy around to get them to the promised land?
So this sounds kind of weird to say.
Yeah,
I thought Dak had a pretty good year. I mean, ever since he came back from his injury, he led the Cowboys were scoring more than anybody else.
Yep.
Cowboys were scoring more points, more touchdowns than anybody else. And I don't know that they're like loaded around him, right? I mean, CeeDee Lamb's pretty good. Who are their other receivers that scare you? Pollard's good, but Zeke is not. Even the offensive line, it's not like they have the Eagles' offensive line. So Dak was moving the ball. Dak was making a lot of great throws. I don't have a real good explanation for those interceptions. I really don't. I mean, on some level, I guess the interceptions came with him being as aggressive as he was for them to get those points. But that's obviously will be the focus. He's a good quarterback. They're not getting anybody else. He just needs to be a little bit more careful with the football.
All right, Ross, need your previews of the Final Four, the Bengals and the Chiefs and the 49ers and the Eagles. What are you seeing this weekend?
Well, let's start where I will be, which is on the sideline for Eagles and the Niners.
Yep.
I'm strongly considering wearing like my bright orange ski jacket.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
Because I try to get as much TV time as possible. Right? So I usually am on the away team side because that's where the camera is showing, right? The cameras are on the home team side where the booth is. So I usually am on the away team side, and I have no interest whatsoever in getting hurt, even a little bit. So when the action comes near me on the sideline, I go back like 10 yards. I don't need that. I did that for 18 years. Don't need it. But I immediately sprint right back to where the guys went out of bounds to try to get as much TV time as possible. My sister sent me multiple screenshots last week. So I am likely to go with the orange jacket to try to maximize television time.
Nice.
I don't think you asked me about my TV time. I think you asked me about the game, but I just want everybody to know that.
What about your handwear? What about the gloves?
Well, it depends on the weather report. I'll probably bring 2 gloves in the car because I can just drive to Philly. But I'll bring 2 gloves in the car. Thank goodness I wore like my duck boots and not like those fancy shoes everybody wears in Buffalo. That would have been a disaster. Now, that would have been bad. And, of course, I posted a picture on social media, and like half the people made fun of my boots.
Yeah.
Like, really? I'm on the sideline for 5 hours in the snow. What do you want me to wear? The stuff that fancy Rick wears? I'm not wearing that stuff on the sideline.
No.
So anyway, I think they're both going to be really good games. I do. I think the Eagles are just super talented. I mean, guys, basically 18 of their 22 starters are either Pro Bowlers or Pro Bowl alternates. That is nuts.
Yeah.
That's only like, how do you feel if you're one of the 4 guys that isn't?
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. They're just a really talented team. They looked on Saturday night against the Giants like they looked most of the season. They just looked, I don't want to say unbeatable, but they looked really, really good. They're so talented. They're playing at home. If the Niners can't run the ball, I think they're in trouble. I think the Niners are going to try to run the ball, and I wouldn't be surprised if they have some success with it. That's their recipe to win this game. Keep the ball away from the Eagles' offense, run it. I still like the Eagles in a close one, though.
Well, I don't know if you have any medical report on Patrick Mahomes, but what if the Chiefs have to depend on Chad Henne on the weekend?
Well, first of all, Chad Henne from Wyomissing, Pennsylvania, my hometown.
Wow.
Wow.
Real quick story on that, okay? I used to lift weights with Chad Henne's dad.
Wow.
And when Chad was like in 7th or 8th grade, his dad was like, my son's actually a pretty good linebacker and fullback. And, I think at the time I was a Division I college football player. I wasn't in the NFL yet. But when people tell you about their son, you're kind of like, yeah, I'm sure he's great. Sure. Well, turned out his son was Chad Henne. I mean, he started 4 years at a powerhouse. He started 4 years at a top 10 high school in the state of Pennsylvania, which is almost more impressive than starting every game for 4 years at Michigan and playing 15 years in the NFL. Like, you You don't start as a ninth grade quarterback at one of these gigantic high schools. You just don't do that. It's unbelievable. So if he's 2 for 2 guys in the last 3 years in the playoffs. Came in against the Browns, got the job done. Came in against the Jags, 98-yard touchdown drive. It's not going to be him, though. Unless Mahomes tries to move around and aggravates it, it's not going to be Chad. It's going to be Mahomes. I think it's a problem.
Yeah,
I really do. It's not easy in life to go out there and try to be somebody you're not, right? Like Rick is a hockey insider. Mm-hmm. So it's not easy for him every day to act like he's a talk show host with Donnie. It doesn't come naturally.
Oh, yeah.
Now you're asking Mahomes, who loves to run around and make throws and buy time. He's not really going to be able to do that. And I think the Bengals are going to have an awesome game plan to go ahead and try to take advantage of that. They're not going to give him easy throws early in the down. They're going to make him hold the ball. The more he holds the ball, the more he has to move. I like the Bengals in a close one there. The Bengals coaching staff's awesome. They're a battle to 5 playoff wins the last 2 years, 3 of them on the road. The Bengals are good. Give me the Bengals in a close game. Although everybody's saying Eagles-Bengals now, which makes me a little bit nervous.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I'm nervous.
Okay. There you go. Have they got Gore-Tex down there? Down in your parts, Gore-Tex?
They do,
for the
have
gloves?
Gore-Tex. I wasn't. They acted like the snow was going to be nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's not like it was like a foot of snow, but if it keeps, it's still wet. Yeah. Snow is wet. Rick, write that down. Snow is still wet. Okay, so I should have had a better jacket and better gloves. That's on me. I pulled a real dollywall.
No.
Mm-hmm. Orange jacket. We'll look for it.
We're looking for that orange jacket.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have to see. I want to wear it. My wife thinks it's very unprofessional, but look, TV time's important. You know, my audience demands it.
Yeah. Attention is the new currency, Ross. You can use that. All right. There's nothing wrong. I'm with you. Wear that orange jacket. All right, buddy. Talk to you next week.
All right. See you, dudes.
You bet. Ross Tucker Football Podcast.